Good morning, Robin. How are you? Good to see you. Waiting for a couple more people to come in and get notification. Hey, Bonnie. Good morning. Lynn Matthews. Good morning to you. How are you? Good to see everybody. Good morning, Chicago Pops. Good to see you. Hey, Diana. Hello. Good to see you as well. How's everybody doing on this Thursday? Thursday, which seems like an eternity, like away from where we were. Thank you. If you would please share the video with everyone, if you could, that would be great. And okay, now we have other part of Facebook that just came. Cool. And if you're watching us on Clouthub, remember, if you want to chat with us live, please go over to YouTube and look for the Susan Knowles channel. You can see the messages here, but you can chat live with us on YouTube. So let me go ahead and good morning, Diana. Good, ready to get the day going. Okay. So, all right, good for you. I'm glad. I'm ready to get the day going too, but it's only 8 o'clock here. So, all right, let me read Psalm 121. And then we'll get started. I will lift up my eyes to the hills from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Amen. Amen. Hey, Gary, good to see you. Paula, good to see you. Good morning, Redeemed Patriot. Hello. How's everybody? Let me show you. I don't think I showed you this because I think I did this Tuesday, but I'm not sure. I wanted to show you my latest wreath that I completed. This is you can see the hydrangea, carnations, roses, and a little yellow accent. This is all in my etsy.com//shop/the spirited crafter. If you're interested in this or any other wreath, getting ready for spring and summer. Good morning, Chezzy. Good to see you. Kathy McPherson. Good to see you. Good morning, Michael Walker. Good to see you as well. So beautiful. Thank you, Diana. If everybody, you need to go and join us today over on, thank you, Ron, cloudhub.com. Look for groups once you get there. Like the top, it'll say groups. Just go in and try to find the, which should be easy, seriously, the Marketplace Networking Group. And please join us there. Join and start putting anything that you have for sale that you want to share with everybody. Good morning, Sharon Teal. And buy and sell from people who are like-minded, who are not trying to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. Good morning, Sally. That's the Marketplace Networking Group. It's free to join. And then share, if you will, share out to whomever you want. Let them know that they can come there and buy and sell from you, and which would be a really great thing. Hey, Robin Gailey, so we could get things going. So in the event when they start closing things down, you will know who you can trust and who you can buy and sell from. You can, I have this listed there, the wreath that I just showed you, that's also listed in that group. And other people, Diana does some beautiful work in jewelry there, and other people have things to sell. Go there. It looks like the Marketplace Networking Group is growing. Yes, Ron, it is. And then Barbara comes in here. She also has things listed there. She is a Mary Kay representative, so she has her stuff listed there as well. But again, get the word out. Let's get a ton of people in there so that we can get that out for everyone, right? So everybody can see it, everybody can join, and everybody can benefit from it. Now, just in the U.S. House, let me find this here. The U.S. House just voted and passed a bill on major new gun control laws, with 7 Republicans joining their Democratic colleagues. So another reason why the rhinos need to go. Let me get this up if I can here. And voting yes. So not good that the Republicans are now trying to take away your Second Amendment as well. Hey, Twin Crier and Debbie Treadway, good to see you. So I don't know who those people are, but as you can see, we went quickly from doing one thing in the house to doing something else. I'm talking to people in Jacob's tent to join. Good, good, Diana. That's good. Let's see if we can figure out who the 7 were, so I can let you know. Bipartisan group spearheaded by Mike Thompson from California. Where else? Looks to utilize the current background checks process in an attempt to ensure individuals prohibited from possessing a gun are unable to obtain one. California, you need a background check, fingerprints, everything else to get a gun. I think you now need to do that to get bullets. We're not allowed to buy bullets, ammunition outside of the state. It's crazy. Let's see. 3 Republicans, Fred Upton from Michigan, Chris Smith from New Jersey, and Brian Fitzpatrick opted to co-sponsor the bill. So you can remember them. And I don't know who it was. Let's see. Thomas Massey of Kentucky argued, he's a Republican, that the stats show that the majority of gun-related crimes are not committed by people attempting to obtain firearms. So, again, they're not showing who it was. Not just yet in this article. Anyway, we'll try to find out later. Hey, Timothy Marvin, good to see you. I read this morning Paul Ryan is planning to hold a fundraiser for Liz Cheney. That's true. Sally, I saw that last week. And Liz Cheney is an idiot, Ron said. So, you can't get much more plain than that. So the other breaking news this morning, let me put this up here for you. It's a never-ending cycle. Good morning, Melanie. So what we have here is that the judge has granted a motion to reinstate third-degree murder charge against Derek Chauvin in trial for the George Floyd death. So, they ruled it out before. I guess the prosecutors somebody asked to bring it back. And so that now it was, I guess, the prosecutors, I'm supposing. That's typically how something is done, but we're not in the typical world anymore. So there you go. E. Woody said, doing my concealed carry course tomorrow. That's great. So anyway, we can, the judges will do some things and not other things. I love your picture there, twin crier of President Trump. That's good. Okay. Now, here, talking about somebody that's charged with several things, let's go on to somebody who is basically not charged with anything, at least at this point. And I want to bring up and let you hear this video. This was pretty good. I have to say, the guy on the news crew did a really good job. So let's take a listen. It's about 48 seconds long. If for some reason that you can't hear it, let me know and I'll try to restart it. You should be able to hear it. Here goes.
Governor, you have led the most corrupted state government in America. 8 individuals closely associated with your administration are now going to jail or have gone to jail for federal corruption charges. At what point, after 8 years of being in office, do you take responsibility, or at least admit you either you have benefited politically from it, or you have no clue what's going on within the administration? This is what is stealing from taxpayers. You have allowed individuals in this administration to defraud taxpayers, and anywhere else in America, no governor could possibly be running for re-election. And Marsha and Rich, the point is that at the end of the day, corruption steals from real people. From real people. You raised $101 million over 8 years in exchange for $50 billion worth of state expenditures.
Yeah, so there you go. Time is up. Time is up. Oh gosh, let's not bring out the truth. We can't have that. Prayers for Sally's son, who is having surgery today to have cancer removed from his cheek. Absolutely, Sally. Paula said we can hear it. Everybody could hear it. Good. Yeah. So Cuomo, as I said, he's still kicking. 6 women have come forward now with allegations against him, and he acts as though nothing is happening. Just because there are allegations doesn't mean that he's guilty. But when you have 6 people from 6, unless they cooperated together, is this something that you really need to take a look at? Redeemed Patriot says, I have guns and a lot of ammo. I pray I will never have to use them. Now, this is what President Trump said. I'm not in agreement with this statement for him, but this is, I guess, what he feels. He says, Trump says he hopes Americans remember him when they get vaccines. I don't know if that's really what you want at this point, if you want anybody remembering that you were involved with this, but I get your point. If it hadn't been for you in Operation Warp Speed, a lot of this would not be going on right now anyway. Ron said Cuomo needs to resign ASAP. Yeah, he really does. Far less people have had those type of allegations and they're gone, but of course, we live in a different world. So there was an announcement made yesterday as well. And this is from Cuomo, seems to be very hands-on. Yes, E. Whitty, that's a good way to put it. This is Mike Lindell. The My Pillow guy says he's launching a social media website after the Twitter ban. Well, he has the money to do it. That's a good thing. But I wonder when he says that, if he's not going to, President Trump now is not going to launch a website, if Mike Lindell is. I can't see both of them doing it, competing against each other. So I would kind of think at this point, it rules out President Trump from having his own social media platform. Robin said, my mother-in-law wouldn't be crippled if not for this jab. Trump shouldn't be bragging. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Brian C. Hey, Lori. I think I saw you come in a minute ago when we were talking about something else. Good morning to you. Yeah, I really wouldn't want my name associated with it, honestly, in any way, shape, or form. But, I get his point. He did a lot of work and has really got no credit for it at all. But, anyway. Oh, no, Robin, what in the world happened? She had the jab, Sally. So, Robin, you can explain to Sally what happened if you like. She got the jab, and Robin said that's what happened. People with Trump want a TV network. Oh, good, Timothy. Timothy Marvin. That's good. TV network is fine. I think that's even better. But we need to get the word out whichever way. I think it would be great to have a combination of TV network and to also have a social media platform. Okay, now what I'm about to show you, if there are kids in the room, you probably don't want them in the room. This is an advisor, a viewer discretion advisory, okay? So again, if you have children in the room, you probably do not want them to see what I'm going to be showing you next. This is about a shooting incident that happened in Oklahoma against a minor. This is something that's coming out in the news. It's probably going to be even more in the news. So I wanted to be able to show it to you, and you should have sound and everything else. So let me bring it up and then I'll get it started for you. Trump 45. Oh, TV channel 17. Why 17? Shouldn't it be 19? Depending on what letter of the alphabet you're following. So anyway, all right. So let me bring this up and get this started again. No children should be watching this. Here you go.
Show us your hands, sir. Yeah. Nobody has to get hurt. Just show us your hands.
Where's he at?
Right here in the window.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Hands!
Hands!
Get on the ground.
Get on the ground.
Get on the ground. Face down on the ground. No, don't do that. Get down on the ground.
Get down. Drop it.
Get down. Ceasefire. You two, go up. Get your hands out. Show me your hands. Get your hands out. Hands.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off at that point. As you can see, it's always difficult when you're not a police officer. It's easy to sit back and second guess what you would do. What happened there, as you can see, the 15-year-old had it looked like, according to the video, an alleged weapon that he took out, he threw onto the ground, and then where he made well, all of it was kind of a mistake to even have a weapon if that's what he had. But putting your hand in your back pocket, good morning, Bruce, good to see you, would lead a police officer maybe to believe that you had another weapon. So that I think he was shot, I think approximately 13 times. And they found a cell phone in his back pocket, probably what he was reaching for, and they did not find another weapon. So they have been brought up, the officers, I think there are 5 of them, have now been brought up on manslaughter charges. This is going to be a really difficult one. It really is. Again, you don't know as a police officer what's in somebody's back pocket, what they're reaching for. I've seen, and I wish I had the video in some ways. Good morning, Miriam. Good to see you. There have been instances like in San Diego. This happened years and years and years and years ago. There was a news crew out. There was a guy sort of leaning against a building, and they asked him to put the weapon down. And, he picked it up and he started to shoot. And I can't remember if some people were wounded in that or not. It's, like I said, it's been a long time ago. But it's kind of like you don't know what people are going to do. I think it's going to be hard to get manslaughter against them. The bad thing, all of it's bad when somebody dies. Okay. I don't care what happens. It's bad when somebody dies. The really sad thing involved in this is that the kid was a kid. It was 15 years old, and it makes it look worse, right? Because of the fact that he was a child. It's a horrible thing. I don't know what the whole video, I don't know what the whole circumstances are, so I really can't say one way or the other. I'm going to wait till all the information comes out and all that. But again, it's very difficult. He would have probably nothing would have happened to him had he kept his hands up and not touched anything. But being a kid and doing stupid stuff and on impulse, it may be what he was doing, and just reached, and that was it, unfortunately. Robin said, if a police officer told me to get on the ground, I would get on the ground. Redeemed Patriot said, BS, did not follow instructions. Ron said, people just need to comply with the police. Yep. Debbie said, I get it, but if you are a good shot, you don't need so many shots fired. Debbie, but see, that's the thing again. When you're not there and in the situation, and when you're there and adrenaline starts pumping, you can't sit there and go, oh, I just need one shot. Let me just aim and do one shot. It's not like that. I only say that because we went through, hey, Boston T, we went through moot, if you would, moot trials, MOOT, moot trials of in the police academy of felony hot stops and things like that. When you're there and it's up to you and you're the only one and, blah, 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 you may not make the same decision that somebody else has made. And you get that adrenaline pumping. It's like if I were to say to people out there, oh, well, if somebody tries to break into your house, just shoot them once and don't aim towards something that will stop them. Maybe aim toward their foot. Okay, that's great advice, right? But you don't know if that person coming through the door has bigger weapons than you do, has more gun power, has other people with them, has knives on their body. You don't know any of that. You don't know any of that. So it's easy for all of us to say, Monday morning quarterback, I would have done this, I should have done that. But when you're in the situation, like you got a grizzly bear coming after you, you're not going to be thinking like you normally do. They also teach you, and they used to, when I was in the police academy, they teach you to stop somebody by shooting them right in the center. Because if you shoot somebody in the foot or the leg, they can still come after you. They can still reach for a gun. And they can still shoot you with it. So it's a big mess. All I can say, it's a big mess. The thing of it is, when a cop tells you to do something, do something. One shot, heart shot or head shot. You don't even shoot. It's not even in the head, Bruce, because that's easy to miss. You go for the biggest part of somebody's body. Twin Crier said could have been suicide by cop. It's actually commonplace. Yeah, that did not look like suicide by cop. I've seen that. What I was telling you about the instance that happened in San Diego, that was ruled a kind of a suicide by cop. These officers were dispatched for armed robbery. Suspects shall not reach for his pockets or anything. I bet those officers were thinking he was going to pull a weapon on him. Absolutely. Absolutely, Brian C. It was, yeah, and you're right. It was an armed robbery suspect. That was the call. My dad taught me if you do not, they can take gun from you. Barbara said, well, I couldn't tell how many police officers were shooting. About 5, Debbie, about 5. One person fired rubber bullets, and that was a woman named Sarah, they said, that was a police officer. So she's not getting charged. And again, we can debate whether or not that should have been a rubber bullets or that should have been, real ammo. The thing of it is, number one, you don't know. You're not looking at a kid and going, oh, well, is that a kid or an adult? Kids can kill you too, and that's the other thing that cops have to go through. It's a bad thing. I'll tell you one thing. If I were a police officer today, I would probably get out of it or retire. The cops don't come to a scene for no reason. Ron said, yep, it makes a difference. Rocky Michael said, you don't match power. You overwhelm the perpetrator. Well, you can't use excessive force, Redeemed Patriot, if you're a police officer. Proper trigger discipline, you don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to neutralize the threat. And again, when you put your finger on the trigger, adrenaline may make you fire more than once. And that's why you have to, know all of the facts, what was going on, what happened, what was done, why it was done, et cetera, et cetera. So, we can't rush to judgment on something like that. Same thing happens with the lockdowns in the minds of the people. They can't think anymore. Their brains are in fight or flight mode. Yeah, it's the adrenaline, Gary. And again, if somebody's coming after you and coming towards you or threatening you in some way, and you see a gun, you see that person has a gun. Just because they brought out one gun doesn't mean they don't have 2 guns, 3 guns, 4 guns. So it's a very difficult situation. It's not as easy as everybody would like for everyone else to think it is. It truly isn't. Unless you've been there and done that, it isn't that easy. And I've only had to do that during an academy and not in real life, because even then it would be even more onerous and different. But I can tell you, even in a simulated attack, it's frightening. You're not sitting there in that going, oh, well, this is just a simulated attack and I don't have to worry about it. You're being graded and everything else. Gary said, I don't blame the cops. Yeah. I think it's a really unfortunate incident that could have totally been prevented had the 15-year-old not had a gun at all. For those of you asking, the victim was supposedly Hispanic, I believe. If you point any object at a cop, assume that you will die, Tim said. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. First of all, don't have a gun on you that you legally cannot have on you. That's number one. Kid was 15 years old. No way should have had a gun at all. And then when the cop tells you to freeze, get down on the ground, or, whatever, do what you were told to do. You can always sue later if you feel that you have been something injustice done against you. And I know people will say, well, you can't always sue later. You could be killed. That's true. That's true. But I would want to take my chances more on later than at the moment, where I know definitely if I do something that I shouldn't be doing, then I'm going to be shot. So there you go. Anyway, all right. Again, we'll wait for more facts to come out about what happened and see. It was all I can say is a very unfortunate situation all the way around. All right. As you know, increased child tax credit paves the way for universal basic income, according to some experts. We're looking at, let's see, $3,600 for children under 6, $3,000 for child 6 to 17, and it would be made fully refundable and payable in monthly installments of $300 a month. They're getting you trained for socialism. That's what's happening. Whether we can see that or not, that's what's happening. Also, we are at the halfway point. If you could please go ahead and retweet this, share this, I would really appreciate it. And we will move on. Now, we're going to talk about some things that happened in Illinois. You know, there was some alleged voter fraud going on there. And man, yeah, sounds like welfare. Exactly, Sally. We're going to go after all of these hardened criminals. We've got 5 people now charged with voter fraud in Illinois. And let's take a closer look at who these horrible people are, because, you know, maybe they were involved in the November 3rd fraud. Maybe they were, I don't know, the Bonnie and Clydes of the voter election fraud. But let's see. They said that there are other cases that have been dismissed, but these cases, let's look closely. Colleen, she's 60. Thomas, he's 73. Carol, of Carol Stream, and Adam, he's 51. So here we go. These hardened criminals, I'm sure, we got to get out there. We've got to arrest those people. We got to take them off to jail. Something tells me there were probably other people that maybe should be on that list that aren't. You're talking about a 60-year-old, a 73-year-old, and a 51-year-old. Not to say they can't commit fraud, but I don't know if they're the ones that you ought to be looking after and looking for and going after. Ron said Illinois, where dead people vote, which is like California. So, you know, there you go. All right. So I'm going to show you something now that you're going to go, but I thought, yeah, me too. Let me bring this up and see if this will let me show it to you. Hopefully it will. And I don't know that there's any sound. It doesn't really matter, but there probably is. And this, you'll go, I don't understand. Okay, here we go. Well, all I can say is that was pretty easy, huh? It reminds me of kind of like Cirque du Soleil when those people were climbing up there that fast. They got over that wall so quickly, and that's the border wall that supposedly nobody can get over. The wall that was supposed to be hard to climb. Yeah, even the guy on the right, he wasn't thinking, because it's like, well, once you get there and you've got that solid block of stuff, how do you get over that? But those other people, seriously, it looked like something that they use in the circus to go up on the high wire, because you just climb up with your feet. It's like a little ladder. You throw it over, you hook it on, and you're off and ready and on to crossing the wall. Pretty simple, as they showed. So there you go. It's kind of one of those things, boy, under the, well, wasn't that easy category. All right, now I'm going to show you something. And, you know, you might say, well, that happened in Los Angeles. That's not going to happen here. As we know, and as we've seen over and over again, what happens in California never stays in California. So enjoy this, I don't know, brainwashing of your children here that I'm going to be showing you. And just know that this won't be the last place that you see it. LA won't be the last place. Why did our cameraman just walk around for the shot? Because Boston Tea, they're not law enforcement, I'm sure. I knew there should be 3 feet of razor wire on top, you know, concertina wire. Yeah, but we can't do that, E-Witty. That would be so inhumane. Okay, let's go ahead and show you this. And oh my gosh, just enjoy this is all I can say. Be making sure the sound is up on it. I don't see the sound, but you should be able to hear it.
There's never been anything like this virus in our lifetime. Often, it's hard to see the effects it's having on our children. Has this conversation taken place in your home?
Mom, I'm scared about going back to school. I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to get you and Dad sick.
Our scientists tell us there are 3 things we must do to stay safe. Wear masks, make sure we social distance, and wash our hands. And now, your school, with the help of Microsoft Corporation, has created another. Introducing Daily Pass, your exclusive ticket for safely going back to school. Each week, you can schedule your free on-campus COVID test. The results are displayed in your Daily Pass. And if you choose to take your test off campus, you can post the results in your Daily Pass. And the moment vaccinations are available, you'll simply be able to schedule yours through your Daily Pass. But the real magic is your daily health check. Just answer a few simple health questions every day, and like magic, your entrance ticket appears.
Welcome back. Welcome to school.
So, how did it go?
Dad, I have to admit, I was scared at first, but then I felt so safe. It was so good to be back. Thanks for keeping me safe. I love you so much.
Yes, nothing says love like, I know, a QR code for a child. Yep, Rama said, oh my gosh, can't take it. Bill Gates, yep. Susan, have you shared the testimony of the DHS? Hold on 1 second, sorry. I have to stop this over here. Hold on 1 second. It's giving me everything. Let's see. Have you, oh gosh, I missed that. Susan, let me go down here. Have you shared the testimony of the DHS whistleblower in the murder of Seth Rich? No, I have not, Rocky. I have not. Coley said, wow, what BS? Yes. Yes, what BS? Daily prison check. Yes. I can tell you now that the schools in California, at least some of the local schools, they do a temperature check every single day for the kids, or they're not allowed on campus. They have to wear masks all day to school. They have to sit in smaller classrooms, and they cannot come in contact with each other. So school has become a different place than what you or I remembered when we were going to school. Now, so let's talk about more of sort of just changing everything, shall we? Again, this happened in California, but trust me, it will be coming to you very soon. This, I don't know, this is hard to read. If you'd like the link, I could give it to you. This says, next week, the California Department of Education will vote on a new statewide ethnic studies curriculum that advocates for the decolonization of American society and elevates Aztec religious symbolism, all in the service of a left-wing political ideology, according to the article. The new program, called the Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum, seeks to extend the left's cultural dominance of California's public university system, 50 years in the making, to the state's entire primary and secondary education system, which consists of 10,000 public schools serving a total of 6 million students. In theoretical terms, the new ethnic studies curriculum is based on the pedagogy of the oppressed, developed by Marxist theoreticians. The guy Paola, I don't know what his name is, Freire, who argued that students must be educated about their oppression in order to attain critical consciousness, and consequently develop the capacity to overthrow their oppressors. The the model curriculum instructs teachers to help students challenge racist, bigoted, discriminatory, imperialist colonial beliefs, and critique white supremacy racism, and other forms of power and oppression. So no problem there. What we're going to do is that we're going to, at the very beginning, just brainwash into kids the way that, you know, what we want them to think, that they live in like a horrible world. Indicates Mike Pence, broad. Yeah. Let's see. So here's a guy, Chris Rufo, Christopher. He is a director of Discovery, CWPM, a writer, City Journal, and blah, blah, blah. Here's what he has to say. He talks about the ethnic studies that are coming up and build new possibilities. Here we go. He also talks about that the original co-chair worked on the early American history material. In the references, he denounces the United States as Eurocentric, white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchal, heteropatriarchal, and anthropocentric, I can't even say those words, paradigm brought from Europe. According to this person, whites began grabbing the land, hatching hierarchies, and developing for whiteness, which created excess wealth that became the basis for the capitalist economy. Whites continue to subject minorities to domestication and zombification. And it goes on and on and on and on. So what we're going to do is continue to divide the races, teaching them that all people of a particular race are white supremacists and bad, and all people of another race, those of color, aren't racist, aren't bad, and are perfect people, and that you should hate those that are different than you. I mean, I don't know if that's really what they say that it's going to be, but that's kind of how I see it. We need to destroy the public schools, Tim said. Pretty amazing is all I can say. Pretty amazing. And again, don't think that's just going to stop in California, because it won't. We are out of control where we are today, and that's what we're going to see. Can we start a new country now? Yeah, I know. We thought about a new party, Robin. Maybe it's the new country that we actually need. Boston T said, not worried. Cannibalism isn't going to go over well on the playground. Parents will take issue with it. Yeah, well, who knows? Anyway, here's a new article that is out by the American Thinker, who, this is hard to see, but let me read the title. It says, masks are just part of the socialist uniform. He writes, the whole masks don't seem to be having much effect, but wear them anyway. Bureaucratic calculus may seem like a frivolous controversy to Americans preoccupied with the pandemic, but for Americans who are equally worried about the state's steady encroachment into the lives of families, mask mandates are the worst kind of noxious administrative abuse, another iteration of government coercion that constricts a person's freedom while accomplishing next to nothing. It's government rulemaking for the sake of rulemaking, whose chief purpose is to demonstrate that it is the government's job to command and each citizen's duty to readily obey. And I can tell you, in public schools, that's what people are being taught. Kids are being taught to do what you're told. Don't question it. Just do it. And not the authority, but your government authority, you know, not all authority. Kathy said, my second great grandchild came home with a book from the library at school, and that was very much promoting to dads. And I said, this book needs to be burned and not allowed in my house. And thankfully, my son agreed, and we're going to address the school about this book. Promoting to dads, or was it something else that you meant to say, Kathy? Was it putting dads down? Is that what you're saying? So, very interesting. The way I see the divided society is much easier to control. Absolutely, Iwidi. It has been throughout all of history. Of course, we don't have history anymore. We've destroyed all of that. We've canceled it. Oh, promoting two dads. I got you. TWO. Gotcha, Kathy. It said TO, so I'm like, okay, I don't really know what that is. All right. Now, here's the way I look at what the mask mandate is. I've been thinking about it a lot. And I think that it's more it is about control. It always has been. But I think that if we look at it more specifically, I think it's to level the playing field between people. You know, we've talked about in the society about inequality and equity and what we need to do to bring everybody up to the same place. Think about it. If you enslave everyone with a mask, then everybody's on an equal playing field, right? So to me personally, I think that's part of the intent. It's, you know, the other part is government control, to bring on the one world order, the Great Reset, you know, on and on and on. But I do think it's more about the equity and equality type issues. Now they got 3 dads. Kelly said, yep. Wanda said, just tuned in. We'll go back and listen from the beginning. Sounds like a need to know. Wanda, we've been talking about a lot of stuff. So absolutely. The person in the article goes on to say that mask mandates are reminiscent of Barack Obama's belief that wealthy Americans should be taxed at higher rates, even if the imposition of these new taxes produce no net benefit for the federal treasury. By his own admission, Obama's insistence on increasing taxes for wealthy Americans was not about generating government revenue or reducing government debt, but rather about punishing individual Americans for having acquired too much personal wealth. Now, remember, when he came into the White House, he was not a millionaire. When he left the White House, I'm talking about Obama now, he left at a net worth of about $12 million. I can only imagine, with his deals with Netflix, his book writing and everything else, where he is now in his millions. And yet he wanted to punish people who were, you know, Americans that acquired too much personal wealth. That, of course, that doesn't include him, right? Now, this person in the article said mask mandates reflect the American government's descent towards socialism. Mask mandates are also an illustration of the sharp philosophical divide, straining Americans into 2 camps guided by conflicting worldviews. And we see that a lot now. We're dividing people as much as we can all the time into the have and the have-nots, the good and the bad. My granddaughters are in a school in Alabama, not public, by a great school system, and they teach bad crap too. Civics teacher teaches hate of conservatives. We've had to call and complain. Wow. Debbie said mask mandate is conditioning. Yes, Debbie, it is that as well. It's got a lot of different purposes. Now, this is still going on. As you know, Texas is no longer under a mask mandate, but there are some stores out there. Texas can still be arrested for violating business mask rules despite mandates in. So basically, if you go into a store and you're not wearing a mask and they want you to wear a mask in that store, they can ask you to leave. If you don't leave, that's considered trespassing. I also think it may be considered discrimination, especially at this part, a civil rights violation perhaps, or a violation of the American Disabilities Act for not accommodating you. But, you know, that would be up to you to go see an attorney if you feel that you need to, and discuss it with him or her. Facial expression are part of language. Masks make it much easier to conceal the true meaning of one's words, Ewedy said. With Netflix deal, Obama will be worth close to $1 billion, Nikolai said. Absolutely. My granddaughters are in a school in Alabama. Okay, that's Robin. All right. So we are out of time. I'll save this for tomorrow because there's so much more to tell you about on this. But again, I'll save it for tomorrow. And let's start where we left off. You bring this up on the screen. We were in Romans chapter 2, God's righteous judgment. Therefore, you are inexcusable, O man, whoever you are who judge, for in whatever you judge another, you condemn yourself. For you who judge practice the same thing. But we know that the judgment of God is according to truth against those who practice such things. And do you think this, oh man, you who judge those practicing such things and doing the same, that you will escape the judgment of God? Or do you despise the riches of his goodness, forbearance, and long suffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leads you to repentance? But in accordance with your hardness and your impenitent heart, you are treasuring up for yourself wrath in the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of God, who will render to each one according to his deeds eternal life to those who by patient continuance in doing good deed, in doing good, seek for glory, honor, and immortality. But to those who are self-seeking and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation, and wrath, tribulation and anguish on every soul of man who does evil, of the Jew first and also of the Greek, but glory, honor, and peace to everyone who works what is good, to the Jew first and also to the Greek, for there is no partiality with God. For as many as have sinned without law will also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law will be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just in the sight of God, but the doers of the law will be justified. For when Gentiles who do not have the law by nature do the things in law, those, although not having the law, are a law to themselves, who show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and between themselves their thoughts accusing or else excusing them, in the day when God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. The Jews guilty as indeed you are called a Jew and rest on the law and make your boast in God and know his will and approve the things that are excellent, being instructed out of the law, and are confident that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, having the form of knowledge and truth in the law. You therefore who teach another, do you teach yourself? You who preach that a man should not steal, do you steal? You who say do not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhor idols, do you rob temples? You who make your boast in the law, do you dishonor God through breaking the law? For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you, as it is written. Circumcision of no avail. For circumcision is indeed profitable if you keep the law, but if you are a breaker of the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. Therefore, if an uncircumcised man keeps the righteous requirements of the law, will not his uncircumcision be counted as circumcision? And will not the physically uncircumcised, if he fulfills the law, judge you who, even with your written code and circumcision, are a transgressor of the law? For he is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not from men, but from God. Romans chapter 3, God's judgment defended. What advantage then has the Jew, or what is the profit of circumcision? Much in every way, chiefly because to them were committed the oracles of God. For what if some did not believe? Will their unbelief make the faithfulness of God without effect? Certainly not. Indeed, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that you may be justified in your words and may overcome when you are judged. But if our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, what shall we say? Is God unjust who inflicts wrath? I speak as a man, certainly not. For then how will God judge the world? For if the truth of God has increased through my lie to his glory, why am I also still judged as a sinner? And why not say, let us do evil that good may come, as we are slanderously reported, and as some affirm that we say? Their condemnation is just. What then, are we better than they? Not at all. For we have previously charged both Jews and Greeks that they are all under sin. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none who understands. There is none who seeks after God. They have all turned aside. They have together become unprofitable. There is none who does good, no, not one. Their throat is an open tomb. Their tongues, they have practiced deceit with their tongues. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, no flesh will be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin, God's righteousness through faith. But now the righteousness of God apart from the law is revealed, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ to all and on all who believe. For there is no difference, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Jesus Christ, whom God set forth as a propitiation by his blood through faith to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his forbearance God had passed over the sins that were previously committed, to demonstrate at the present time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. Boasting excluded. Where is boasting then? It is exalted. By what law? Of works? No, but by the law of faith. Therefore, we conclude that a man is justified by faith apart from the deeds of the law. Or is he the God of the Jews only? Is he not also the God of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also, since there is one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? Certainly not. On the contrary, we establish the law. Chapter 4, Abraham justified by faith. What then shall we say that Abraham our father has found according to the flesh? For if Abraham was justified by works, he has something to boast about, but not before God. For what does the scripture say? Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Now to him who works, the wages are not counted as grace, but as debt. David celebrates the same truth. But to him who does not work, but believes on him who justifies the ungodly, his faith is accounted for righteousness, just as David also describes the blessedness of the man to whom God imputes righteousness apart from works. Blessed are those whose lawless deeds are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord shall not impute sin. Abraham justified before circumcision. Does this blessedness then come upon the circumcised only, or upon the uncircumcised also? For we say that faith was accounted to Abraham for righteousness. How then was it accounted? While he was circumcised or uncircumcised? Not while circumcised, but while uncircumcised. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had while still uncircumcised, that he might be the father of those who believe, though they are uncircumcised, that righteousness might be imputed to them also, and the father of circumcision to those who not only are of the circumcision, but who also walk in the steps of the faith which our father Abraham had while still uncircumcised. The promise granted through faith. For the promise that he would be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if those who are of the law are heirs, faith is made void and the promise made of no effect, because the law brings about wrath, for where there is no law, there is no transgression. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be according to grace, so that the promise might be sure to all the seed, not only to those who are of the law, but also to those who are of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. In the presence of him whom you believe, God who gives life to the dead and calls those things which do not exist as though they did, who contrary to hope, in hope believed, so that he became the father of many nations, according to what was spoken. So shall your descendants be. And not being weak in faith, he did not consider his own body already dead, since he was about 100 years old, and the deadness of Sarah's womb. He did not waver at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strengthened in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully convinced that when he had promised, he was also able to perform. And therefore it was accounted to him for righteousness. Now it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but also for us. It shall be imputed to us who believe in him who raised up Jesus our Lord from the dead, who was delivered up because of our offenses and was raised because of our justification. Okay, I am going to stop there. No mask, no service, no shoes, no problem, Debbie said. All right. So we looked like we had a mask discussion. I hope we heard some of what was going on in the reading. If you would also please go ahead and share this with everyone, and so that they can hear the reading. And we will be back here tomorrow, God willing, for more reading and for more talking about how our world is disintegrating and how quickly it is happening. It was kind of nice last night to take a break. Pastor Jack wasn't there last night for the usual Wednesday night service, but it was a full about an hour and a half of just worship. And thank you, Susan. Lori said, thank you, Boston T. Said, God bless everyone. But we should also remember that part of praising God is also our worship of God, singing our praises to God, worshiping him in music. And it was nice to be able to do that and just go and just for an hour and a half, just praise God and worship God and sing to him. Thank you, Susan. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you, Sally. All right, everybody. Again, thank you for sharing. I will see you back